How do we truly know what is real? This is where epistemology, the study of knowledge, comes in. It asks, what is knowledge? How do we acquire it? And how do we know it's true? This matters for science. Science isn't just data, it's interpreting data and forming conclusions about reality. But reality is complex. So, how do we know our observations and reasoning accurately reflect the world? Epistemic justification means our beliefs must be supported by good reasons and evidence. In science, we justify knowledge by using evidence and testing theories. But how do we know our methods for gathering evidence are reliable? Science relies on assumptions, like the universe being orderly. These assumptions can't be directly tested, yet they're essential. This is where epistemology and philosophy of science intersect. Thomas Kuhn argued that scientific knowledge doesn't just gradually build up. It undergoes paradigm shifts, moments when the entire framework of scientific understanding changes. Kuhn argued that what counts as knowledge in science depends on the assumptions of the scientific community. Herman D. Weird argued that all knowledge, including scientific, is shaped by presuppositions, foundational beliefs that guide how we interpret everything. He called these religious ground motives, which aren't necessarily about religion but about the deep-seated ideas that govern how we approach the world. These assumptions shape the choice of research questions, the interpretation of data, and the development of scientific theories. They are the invisible framework that guides what scientists study and how they approach their work. So, how does this connect to the philosophy of science? Epistemology asks, what makes science reliable? It challenges us to think critically about the assumptions we rely on and how they shape our conclusions. It's not just about the methods of science like observation, experimentation, and analysis. It's also about understanding how and why these methods work and what we're assuming when we use them. This matters because it helps us recognize the limits of science. Science doesn't give us ultimate certainty. It gives us a process for making informed, reasonable judgments, but even that process rests on a foundation of unproven assumptions. In the philosophy of science, epistemology challenges us to ask, are these assumptions reliable? And how do they shape the conclusions we reach? In the next video, we'll dive into the scientific method itself. Is it as objective and universal as it's often portrayed? Or is it also influenced by the presuppositions we've discussed today?